My home, my sanctuary, hummed with the quiet of a Tuesday afternoon until my daughter Julie and her husband Brad stormed in, demanding I bankroll another of his doomed schemes. Their eyes burned with entitlement, but I've learned that family ties don't justify bad bets. The air crackled with tension as I laid out their failures. $135,000 of my money lost to scams disguised as investments. Julie's heels clicked like gunfire as she left, slamming the door so hard my china cabinet shivered. Her parting threat that they wouldn't care for me in old age lingered like smoke. I sipped my tea, gazing through lace curtains at the neighborhood's calm, but a chill settled in my chest. Something darker was brewing, something that would test the trust I'd always placed in family. The argument started when Julie burst into my living room, her designer purse hitting my coffee table with a thud. "Mom, we need to talk right now," she said, her voice sharp. I set down my property management newsletter, folding it carefully. At 69, I've learned calm deliberation outlasts demands. "Good afternoon, sweetheart." "Tea?" I offered, but her eyes narrowed. Brad shuffled in behind her, his discomfort palpable, a man dragged into his wife's crusade. "Brad has an incredible opportunity," Julie pressed. "A tech startup, AI-driven food delivery with blockchain." Her fervor was familiar, the same pitch I'd heard before disasters. I rose, my slippers silent on the Persian rug I'd bought after my first big sale, and retrieved a folder from my office. Brad Hayes Investments 2018-2025 felt heavy in my hands. Spreading documents across the dining table, I recounted their failures. "The cryptocurrency mining revolutionary, you said 45,000 gone when the market crashed." Brad's face reddened. "The organic smoothie franchise? 38,000 for equipment rusting in your garage." Julie's jaw tightened. "And the luxury car import, $52,000 to a conman who vanished. That's $135,000 of my money, not invested but gone." Julie's composure cracked. "You always focus on failures. What about Brad's successes?" I closed the folder. "I'm still waiting to see one." Silence stretched, broken only by Mrs. Henderson's gardening outside. Julie's voice rose. "This startup has real backing, real potential." I asked for a business plan. They didn't have it. "Then you don't have my money," I said, standing to end the conversation. Julie's mask slipped. "You're selfish, Mom. Sitting on wealth while we struggle." My voice stayed steady, though anger flickered. "I'm sitting on 40 years of 16-hour days, tough tenants, and renovations I did myself." Julie snapped. "You don't understand modern business. Scams move fast, dear. That's how they work." Brad tugged her arm, muttering, "We should go." But Julie wasn't done. "When Brad makes millions, don't ask for a share, and don't expect us to care for you when you're too old to manage alone." The threat hung heavy. They left, the door slamming, rattling picture frames. Through the window, I watched them argue by their BMW, Julie's arms flailing, neighbors glancing curiously. I returned to my office, pulling out a different folder. Deeds, bank statements, my portfolio of 312 rental units across 3 counties, worth $8.2 million. Not bad for a woman who started with a dream and a loan. Julie was right about one thing: times had changed. But hard work and honest dealing never went out of style. I made fresh tea, settling back with my newsletter, the afternoon's peace restored by standing my ground. Yet as Brad's BMW roared away, tires squealing on Cedar Street, an ominous quiet followed. I sensed this wasn't over. The next morning, I prepared for my weekly property inspections, clipboard in hand. At 69, I still checked every building myself. Tenants respect landlords who show up. Stepping outside for the newspaper, I froze. My mailbox lay twisted on the sidewalk, its posts splintered like a broken bone. Red paint dripped across my white front door, the word selfish scrawled in jagged letters. My stomach dropped. This wasn't random. It was personal. A message tied to yesterday's fight. My flower beds were trampled, tulips crushed. Mrs. Henderson, coffee mug in hand, called from her porch. "Patricia, what happened?" Her shock mirrored mine. "Vandalism," I said, keeping my voice even despite the anger burning inside. She mentioned hearing a car idling at 2 a.m., a dark sedan with an expensive engine. Brad's BMW fits the description. I called the non-emergency police line, knowing documentation was key. The officer, a young woman, took photos and notes, her concern genuine. "Any recent disputes?" she asked. I hesitated. Accusing family without proof could backfire, but admitted the argument with Julie and Brad. Her nod suggested she'd seen this before. After she left, I stood in my driveway, the violation deeper than damaged property. My home, my haven, had been attacked. Julie's text arrived. "Hi, Mom. Hope you slept well. Maybe we were too emotional yesterday. Can we try again?" The casual tone, ignoring the vandalism, felt like a lie. I didn't respond, instead calling my maintenance company for cleanup and security camera quotes. This was war, and I'd be ready. By afternoon, the paint was scrubbed off my door, and a sturdy new mailbox stood sentinel on my lawn. But the sense of violation lingered like a bad taste. I spent the rest of the day reviewing tenant leases in my home office, the familiar rhythm of work grounding me amid the chaos. Yet, every creak of the house or passing car outside made me glance at the windows, wondering if Julie and Brad's anger would escalate further. My phone buzzed at odd intervals, texts from business associates confirming inspection schedules, but none from Julie until evening. When her call came at 9 p.m., I let it ring twice before answering, steeling myself for whatever facade she'd present. "Hi, Mom." Julie's voice carried false warmth, like syrup over something bitter. "I heard from Mrs. Peterson about some vandalism in the neighborhood last night. Are you okay?" Mrs. Peterson lived blocks away, nowhere near a view of my door. How had Julie known? Unless she'd orchestrated it or sent someone to check. I kept my tone neutral. "I'm fine, dear. Just some random damage." But inside, pieces clicked. The timing after our fight, the personal slur matching her accusation. Julie pressed on. "That's terrible. You should consider moving to a safer area, maybe closer to us so we can keep an eye on you." The suggestion slithered like a threat. Closer meant more control, more opportunities to pressure me about money. I declined politely. "I'm happy here," and she pivoted to recommending a realtor for senior housing, her concern ringing hollow. Hanging up, I sipped chamomile tea in the kitchen, the steam curling in the dim light, my mind mapping patterns. Argument, vandalism, feigned worry. This was no coincidence. It was a campaign. 3 days slipped by in uneasy calm. I had the security cameras installed Thursday, their lenses now watching my property like vigilant eyes. The tulips were replanted, their fresh blooms a small defiance against the destruction. My routine resumed, property inspections where I chatted with tenants about leaky faucets and renewal terms, the normalcy of balm. But alertness hummed beneath it all. I parked my car differently, varied my schedule, watched for tails on drives. Friday morning, while sifting rental applications over coffee, Julie called again. "Mom, I owe you an apology," she said, her tone uncharacteristically soft. "Brad and I talked. We were too pushy Tuesday. Finances stressed us out and we took it unfairly on you." Suspicion flared. Julie never apologized outright. She'd twist narratives to absolve herself. Even as a girl, she'd justify broken promises with elaborate excuses. "That's thoughtful," I replied, waiting for the hook. "Sure enough. We want to make it right. Brad's birthday is tomorrow, a small family dinner at Riverside Grill. Tyler will be there. He asked specifically for you." My grandson's name tugged at my heart. Tyler, at 20, was the family's anchor. Grounded, honest, studying business at Portland State with real curiosity about my work. We discussed property valuations last month, his questions sharp and eager. Refusing might isolate him in their web. "What time?" I asked. 7, no gifts, just your presence." After the call, I pondered in my office, sunlight slanting through blinds onto stacked folders. The invitation's timing, post-vandalism, post-cameras, felt engineered, but Riverside Grill was public, witnesses abound. What harm in a restaurant? Still, caution whispered. This could be another layer in their game. I chose my outfit Saturday with purpose. Navy dress for poise, comfortable shoes for quick movement, purse slim with essentials. No checkbook, no signable papers. The taxi arrived promptly, dropping me at the grill's glowing windows. Inside, Julie and Brad occupied a corner table, but the group swelled beyond small family. 10 settings, unfamiliar faces mingling. Tyler spotted me first, his hug warm and genuine, cutting through the artifice. "Grandma Patty, so glad you came." His smile eased some tension. "Wouldn't miss it, sweetheart. How are finals?" "Brutal, but I'm managing." Later, questions on valuations. Julie swept in, dress flashy and new. "Mom, you look wonderful. Meet everyone." Brad's colleagues and neighbors filled seats, wine bottles expensive and plentiful. A suited man shook my hand. Mrs. Sullivan, Brad's shared so much about your empire, impressive start from nothing. The detail unnerved. How did strangers know my backstory? Dinner unfolded with orchestrated chatter. Real estate trends, retirement strategies, my old-school wisdom, praised amid credit-driven markets. My glass refilled magically, the wine smooth, rich, easing edges despite sips. Toasts flowed, to family, success, second chances. By the third course, relaxation crept in, suspicions dulling. But Tyler's posture stiffened, his focus on his plate, avoiding the business talk. Something felt off, like a script rehearsed without him. The air grew warm, the room's hum pressing. Then Tyler leaned close. "Grandma, talk privately?" "Outside." His urgency pierced the haze. Julie materialized. "Tyler, what's wrong? Cake's coming." Brad hovered, smile fixed. "Son, wait till dessert." But Tyler's eyes widened with fear. "Grandma, now." In 20 years I'd never seen him like this. Panic raw, determination fierce. Trusting him utterly, I rose. "Fresh air sounds good." Julie blocked subtly. "Just 5 minutes, Mom. Someone special for business." Tyler's stifled sound sealed it. "Thank you for dinner," I said, stepping around her. "Keitumia." Outside, cool air snapped clarity. Tyler gripped my arm, leading to shadows. "We need to get you out fast." His hands shook as he called a taxi. "What's happening?" I demanded. Glancing back, he whispered, "I overheard Mom and Dad planning something terrible. They put a drug in your wine to make you confused, compliant." The words struck like ice. "Not just manipulation, poison." "Certain?" He nodded grimly. "From Mom's friend Rachel at the vet clinic. Calms animals, makes them docile." Legs unsteady, I leaned on a car. "How long known?" "Suspicious since Tuesday fight. Whispers about Plan B. Yesterday, heard Mom say the drug would make you sign anything." The puzzle locked. Large group for witnesses, wine for delivery, upstairs room reserved. Documents? Property transfers to Dad, Mom as trustee, lawyers waiting. Horror bloomed. Not a dinner, a trap. A taxi's headlights swept the parking lot, and Tyler flagged it down urgently, his face pale under the street lamps. "How much wine did you drink?" he asked, worry etching his features. "Too much," I admitted, my thoughts already fuzzing at the edges, the world tilting slightly as I climbed in. Your speech was slurring inside. The door shut, and through the window, Tyler leaned in. "Go home?" "No. Hospital. Call police, get a blood test tonight while it's in your system." His voice cracked. "I'm sorry I couldn't warn sooner. Saw them spike your glass." "You saved me, sweetheart," I managed, the taxi pulling away. Watching him trudge back to the restaurant, shoulders slumped, I knew he'd face their wrath for this betrayal. But he'd chosen right, and that knowledge steadied me amid the growing haze. The driver eyed me in the mirror. "You okay, ma'am? Look pale." "Legacy Emanuel emergency room," I directed, fumbling my phone to dial 911. The dispatcher listened as I reported the drugging at Riverside Grill, details spilling out, the wine, the sedative, the plot. Officers would meet me at the hospital and check the restaurant. Streetlights blurred past, Portland's night streets a smear, my head heavy against the seat. The drug's grip tightened, simple thoughts required effort, limbs leaden, but anger burned through, fueling clarity. My own daughter, poisoning me for money. The enormity sank in, a violation deeper than the vandalism, striking at the core of trust I'd nurtured despite their flaws. At the ER, nurses bustled me in, their efficiency a comfort. Officers arrived swiftly, notebooks ready, faces serious as I recounted the evening. The invitation's suspicious warmth, the oversized gathering, wine refills, Tyler's warning. "Blood test now," one insisted, and I nodded, veins pricked, samples drawn. Waiting, I sipped water, the fluorescent lights harsh, amplifying the fuzz in my mind. Tyler's text buzzed. "Police here, arrested Dad. Mom questioned, told everything. You safe?" "Safe at hospital," I replied, fingers clumsy. "Love you. Love you too. They won't forgive me, but it was wrong." His courage at 20 shamed their scheming. The results came: ace-promazine, veterinary sedative, dosage for compliance without blackout, ideal for coerced signatures. "This is attempted fraud, maybe kidnapping," the lead officer said, his tone grave. "We'll coordinate with DA. Restaurant cameras, reservation, premeditation." I provided Tyler's info, statements flowing despite the drug's linger. By 2 a.m., effects waning, exhaustion crashed in. A nurse hailed another taxi, and as we drove, police lights flashed at Julie and Brad's house blocks away. Home's quiet embraced me, security monitors, glowing empty streets. Tea brewed, I sat at the kitchen table, steam rising, reflecting on the night's shatter. Julie's plot wasn't impulse, it was calculated war on my independence. Monday dawned crisp, autumn air sharp through my window as I pored over police reports and news clippings. The Portland Tribune noted Brad's arrest vaguely in business pages, but whispers spread in Beaverton's circles. Calls flooded in, colleagues like Harold Martinez offering support. Anything, Patricia. Legal, properties. Their solidarity contrasted Julie's treachery. Strangers kinder than kin. By noon, attorneys vied for my case, drawn to the assets at stake. I chose Maria Santos, fierce in financial crimes, her office overlooking the Willamette River, barges gliding like my steady empire building. Mrs. Sullivan, criminal charges started, Maria said, notes crisp. Protect assets now. Revoke Julie's medical power of attorney. New safeguards. I agreed, then pushed. Deeper. How long planned? Who helped? Maria's eyebrow arched. Expensive. Investigators, audits. Afford it, I said, detailing Brad's flops, Julie's lifestyle mismatches, the drug's source, lawyers upstairs. Premeditation suggests guidance, she noted. Will parallel DA's probe. Leaving, plan solid, protections, inquiry into deceptions. But first Tyler, unanswered calls worried me. Driving to Portland State, I found him in the student union, haggard over books. Relief lit his face. Grandma, afraid to call police rules? I sat, noting curious stares. You did right, saved everything. But destroyed family, he murmured, burden heavy. Mom silent, Dad jailed, my fault. No, I insisted, meeting his eyes. They poisoned me, plotted theft. You didn't break us, they did. He shared Julie's gaslighting, overreaction, miscommunication. Blood test proved sedative, I countered. No mistake. Relief mixed with sorrow on his face. What now? Prevent repeats, years of schemes, consequences. I outlined attorney investigator, his expression hardened to satisfaction. More, mom skimming elderly clients, dad loans on your name, planned incompetence declaration post-signing. The scope stunned. Over a year since my husband's death, eyeing my wealth, not desperation, predation. Driving home, fury sharp and strategic. They'd involve networks. I'd dismantle them, laptop open, files created for each fraud, each lie using my reputation. By dawn, I'd trace who needed truth about Julie and Brad. Their empire of deceit would crumble under exposure. Sitting in my study Tuesday evening, surrounded by folders of tenant agreements and the hum of new security monitors, I felt the weight of betrayal settle like dust. Tyler's revelations at the student union replayed. Julie skimming $400,000 from elderly clients, Brad borrowing $280,000 against my name, their year-long plot to seize Sullivan Properties by declaring me incompetent. My empire, built brick by brick over 40 years, was their target, and they'd recruited a network to pull it off. The audacity burned, but so did my resolve. I wasn't just a victim. I was a strategist who'd outlasted market crashes and cutthroat competitors. Sipping coffee, its bitterness mirroring my mood, I began cross-referencing bank statements with Tyler's details, mapping their lies. Maria Santos called, her voice crisp. Preliminary findings from the investigator, Rachel Morrison, the vet, sourced the acepromazine. A lawyer, James Fletcher, drafted transfer papers. A conspiracy, not a family spat. Keep digging, I urged. Everyone involved. Wednesday morning, I met Maria at her office, the Willamette River glinting outside as we pored over reports. Julie's theft from Pinnacle Financial's clients spanned 18 months, falsified statements hiding $400,000 siphoned to personal accounts. Brad's loans, secured with my reputation as collateral, were a web of deceit across 6 lenders, none aware of the others. Most damning was the network. Rachel for drugs, Fletcher for legal traps, a financial planner named Kevin Walsh structuring the asset grab. Racketeering potential, Maria noted, scribbling. The DA's interested, especially with Morrison cooperating for leniency. My plan sharpened. Protect my assets, yes, but also expose every victim to collapse their house of cards. Back home, I compiled a spreadsheet. 18 clients, 6 lenders, contact details, evidence of fraud. Each entry felt like reclaiming power, turning their weaponized trust against them. By Thursday, I'd prepared 24 manila envelopes, 18 for Julie's victims, 6 for Brad's lenders, each with bank records, statements, and proof of their crimes. No accusations, just facts. Account discrepancies, unauthorized transfers, fraudulent loan guarantees. I hired a courier for same-day delivery, ensuring anonymity. This will ruin them, Maria warned, reviewing my work. Careers, finances, reputations. I thought of the red paint dripping down my door, the drug clouding my mind at the restaurant, the lawyers waiting to steal my life's work. They ruined themselves, I replied, voice steady. I'm giving victims truth. The courier left at 2 p.m., packages bound for 24 mailboxes. By evening, Julie's clients would find their trusted advisor had robbed them blind. Brad's lenders would see their loans were shams. At 6:30 p.m., my phone rang. Margaret Chen, a retired teacher and Pinnacle client. Mrs. Sullivan, I got documents showing Julie Hayes stole $30,000 from my savings. Her voice trembled with shock. Have you contacted Pinnacle? I asked, calm but expectant. They're auditing all her accounts. Others called today with similar packets. The dominoes were falling. Other victims rang through the night, voices mixing outrage and betrayal, coordinating with Pinnacle for audits. Lenders, too, demanded immediate repayment, threatening lawsuits. I sat in my kitchen, tea cooling, the phone's buzz a steady pulse. Mrs. Henderson's porch light glowed outside, her garden a quiet constant amid the chaos. Tyler called at 9. Grandma, Mom's crying, suspended from work. Dad's frantic, talking loan fraud charges. Did you? I gave victims what they deserved, truth, I said. Their choices, not mine. He hesitated. Mom says you're destroying them. The irony stung. They destroyed themselves, Tyler, choosing crime over family. This is justice, not revenge. After hanging up, I reviewed my spreadsheet, now a ledger of accountability. Pinnacle would fire Julie. Brad's lenders would demand $280,000 he couldn't pay. Their world was unraveling, exactly as planned. But a new concern gnawed: Tyler's isolation. His parents' blame would weigh heavy, and I needed to shield him. Friday, I drove to his campus again, finding him in a quiet library nook, eyes red from sleeplessness. Grandma, Mom's talking bankruptcy. Dad might lose the house. His voice broke, guilt heavy. You didn't cause this, I insisted, sitting close. They've hurt others for years, clients, lenders, me. You stopped worse. He nodded, then shared more. Julie's manipulations predated my husband's death, small thefts from family accounts to fund her lifestyle, covered by charm. Brad's schemes used my name to borrow from local banks, betting I'd bail him out to save face. They thought you'd never fight back, Tyler said. Thought you'd cave to family pressure. That miscalculation was their downfall. I outlined my plan: legal protections, ongoing investigations, ensuring no one else suffered. Join me, Tyler. Learn the business honestly. His eyes lit up, a spark of purpose. I want that, something real, like you built. We agreed he'd start part-time, shadowing inspections, learning tenant relations. Driving home, I felt a shift. Not just stopping their crimes, but building forward with someone who valued truth. The weekend brought more calls, reporters sniffing stories, colleagues offering support. Harold Martinez rang again. Patricia, rumors are wild. Need anything? Just keep being you, Harold, I said, warmed by community loyalty. Julie and Brad's lies had isolated them. My honesty rallied allies. By Sunday, Pinnacle confirmed Julie's suspension, audits deepening. Lenders filed claims against Brad, his schemes exposed. My envelopes had sparked a reckoning, not just for them but for every accomplice who thought they could hide. Sitting in my study, monitors showing my quiet street, I felt the calm of control regained. The fight wasn't over, legal battles loomed, but I'd turned betrayal into action. Tyler's future, my legacy, would stand on integrity, not greed. Tomorrow, I'd meet Maria to tighten asset protections. But tonight, peace came in knowing their empire of lies was crumbling under truth's weight. Monday morning sunlight spilled across my kitchen table, where I sat surrounded by 3 bankers' boxes stuffed with evidence. Bank records, falsified statements, loan agreements. Maria Santos's private investigator had worked fast, unearthing a conspiracy that stretched far beyond Saturday's drugging attempt. Julie's theft from Pinnacle Financial's elderly clients totaled $400,000 over 18 months, hidden by doctored reports that painted healthy investments. Brad's fraud was no less brazen, securing $280,000 in loans from 6 lenders by leveraging my reputation as collateral, each deal concealed from the others. The network of accomplices chilled me. Rachel Morrison, the vet, supplied the ace promazine. James Fletcher, the attorney, crafted transfer documents. Kevin Walsh, a financial planner, mapped the asset grab. This wasn't a desperate lark. It was organized crime targeting my life's work. Sipping tea, its warmth steadying my hands, I felt a cold determination solidify. They'd underestimated a woman who'd built an empire from nothing. Maria's office buzzed with purpose as we met that afternoon, her conference table buried under financial records. "The DA's pushing racketeering charges," she said, flipping through the investigator's report. "Morrison's cooperation confirms Julie recruited her for the drug. Fletcher's fighting, but his license is at risk." I nodded, picturing the restaurant's private dining room, lawyers waiting to exploit my drugged compliance. "What about the victims?" I asked. "Most don't know yet," Maria replied. "Julie's kept their accounts looking normal. Brad's making minimum loan payments with new scams." An idea sparked, precise and surgical. "If they learned the truth all at once?" Maria's eyes sharpened. "Financial chaos. Clients demand audits, lenders call loans, their schemes collapse." I showed her my spreadsheet. 18 clients, 6 lenders, their losses documented. "I've prepared evidence packets. Anonymous, factual, no embellishment." She reviewed it, admiration flickering. "Thorough, but this is a bomb. Careers, lives obliterated." "They obliterated themselves," I said, voice steady, thinking of the red paint, the spiked wine, the betrayal. "Victims deserve truth." Maria agreed, stipulating anonymity to avoid legal backlash. By noon, I'd finalized 24 envelopes, each a dagger of evidence. For Julie's clients, proof of stolen savings. For Brad's lenders, records of fraudulent guarantees. The courier service collected them at 2 p.m., promising delivery by evening. As they left, I stood in my driveway, the autumn breeze cool, imagining the shock rippling through Beaverton as envelopes landed. Margaret Chen called first, her voice quaking. "Patricia, documents showed Julie stole $30,000 from my retirement. Pinnacle's auditing everything." Others followed, clients comparing notes, lenders demanding repayment. The house of cards teetered. Tyler called at dusk, voice strained. "Grandma, Mom's suspended, crying about bankruptcy. Dad's yelling about lawsuits. Did you send those packets?" "I gave their victims facts," I replied. "Their choices did the rest." He exhaled, heavy with guilt. "They blame you, say you're ruining them." Irony stung. "They tried to ruin me." "Tyler, they poisoned me, stole from others. This is accountability." I drove to his campus Tuesday, finding him hunched in a coffee shop, eyes shadowed. "You didn't cause this," I said, sitting close. "You saved me." He shared more. Julie's early thefts from family trusts, small enough to escape notice. Brad's pitches to lenders, name-dropping Sullivan Properties for credibility. "They thought you'd fold under family guilt," he said. "Their misjudgment was my weapon." I outlined the next steps. Legal fortifications, deeper investigations. "Join me, Tyler. Learn the business the right way." His nod was firm. "I want to build honestly, like you." We planned his start, shadowing maintenance calls, studying leases. Driving home, I felt a shift. Justice wasn't just dismantling their lies, but building Tyler's future. Wednesday brought chaos for them. Pinnacle fired Julie, reporting her to authorities. Lenders filed claims against Brad for $280,000. Calls flooded in. Reporters, colleagues like Harold Martinez offering support. "Anything, Patricia," he said. Community loyalty outshone family betrayal. My monitors showed quiet streets, but the storm I'd unleashed raged on. Thursday, I met Maria again, refining asset protections. "Fletcher's disbarred, Walsh is under scrutiny," she updated. "The DA's building a case against the whole network." I pushed for victim restitution, knowing Julie and Brad couldn't pay $680,000. "They'll face bankruptcy, prison," Maria said. I nodded, picturing their BMW sold, their house foreclosed. Not revenge, consequences. At home, I reviewed my portfolio. $8.2 million in properties, secure now. Tyler texted. Started lease research. "Thanks for trusting me." Pride warmed me. This wasn't just about stopping them, it was about ensuring integrity endured. Friday, a letter arrived via Tyler. Julie's handwriting. "I'm sorry, you were right. Protect Tyler." No excuses, just a mother's plea. I tucked it away, unmoved but resolute. They'd face justice. Tyler would inherit truth. That evening, sitting on my porch, Mrs. Henderson's garden glowed under her lights, a reminder of life's persistence. The phone rang. More support, more allies. Julie and Brad's world collapsed, but mine stood firm, bolstered by those who valued honesty. Tyler's training began next week, his questions already sharp. The fight wasn't over. Legal battles loomed, but I'd turned betrayal into strength. Their lies had unraveled. My truth held fast. 2 weeks passed in a blur of legal meetings and investigative updates. the autumn leaves turning fiery red outside my windows as Julie and Brad's fate unfolded. The Portland Tribune expanded its coverage, headlines detailing local couple charged in elder fraud scheme, their mugshots stark against the print. Calls from the community persisted, a network of support I'd cultivated over decades proving stronger than family bonds. Harold Martinez stopped by with coffee and advice on navigating publicity, his presence a reminder that true allies emerge in crisis. At home, my security monitors hummed reassuringly, capturing the quiet rhythms of Beaverton life. Mrs. Henderson tending her garden, neighbors walking dogs. Yet, beneath the calm, I pieced together more of their conspiracy. Maria Santos feeding me reports that revealed layers of deceit I hadn't imagined. Rachel Morrison had confessed fully, detailing how Julie approached her months ago, framing the drug request as a family favor for calming an agitated relative. Fletcher's office records showed drafts of property transfers dating back 6 months, annotated with notes on exploiting elder vulnerability laws. Walsh's involvement ran deeper. He'd advised on structuring the fraud to mimic legitimate estate planning, even suggesting staged competency tests post-drugging. The DA's case ballooned, incorporating wire fraud from Julie's client thefts and identity theft in Brad's loans. "This is textbook organized crime," Maria said during our weekly call, her voice triumphant. "Restitution orders will hit $700,000 minimum." I sipped tea in my kitchen, the steam mingling with the scent of fresh-baked scones I'd made to steady my nerves. Bankruptcy loomed for them, their assets seized, but satisfaction came from knowing victims like Margaret Chen would recover losses through court-mandated sales. Tyler knocked on my door one Saturday morning, his face brighter than in weeks, a backpack slung over his shoulder. "Grandma, the house sold yesterday," he said, settling at the table as I poured coffee. "Mom and Dad are moving to a tiny apartment in Gresham. Dad's got a warehouse job. Mom's interviewing for retail." The news landed heavy, but his tone held relief, not grief. "How are you with that?" I asked, noting his steady gaze. "Honestly, lifted. Living in their lies was suffocating. Now it's out." He handed me Julie's envelope again. No, a new one, her script neat. "I'm sorry for everything. You were right. Please look after Tyler." A mother's instinct persisting amid ruin. "She knows she lost the right to ask," Tyler explained, "but she loves me enough to ensure I'm okay." I folded it away, emotions complex, pity for her fall, but no forgiveness for the poison in my wine. We drove to my original duplex that afternoon, the starting point of Sullivan Properties 40 years ago. Sunlight dappled the porch as I shared stories. The leaky roof I'd fixed myself, the first tenant's gratitude. "This is where honesty built everything," I told him. One deal at a time. Tyler's questions flowed. Maintenance costs, screening processes, his enthusiasm a balm. "I'd love to learn from the ground up," he said. "No shortcuts." Pride swelled. He'd chosen my path over his parents'. Back home, we planned to schedule around classes, starting with inspections. "Grandma, I promise not to let you down like they did." "You already proved yourself," I replied, hugging him. As he left, waving from his bike, hope flickered, legacy secured in trustworthy hands. Monday brought court updates. Julie pleaded guilty to 18 securities fraud counts, facing 5 years. Brad to loan fraud and conspiracy, 3 years. Restitution totaled $700,000, their lives stripped bare. Rachel lost her license, Fletcher was disbarred, Walsh faced charges, the conspiracy dismantled, piece by piece. Victims called to thank me anonymously, their relief palpable. "You gave us back our futures," one said. Maria confirmed, "Your packets accelerated everything. Audits exposed the full scope." Sitting in my office, folders now organized triumphs, I reviewed my portfolio, 312 units strong, untouched. The violation faded, replaced by empowerment. Tuesday evening, Tyler joined for dinner, discussing valuation methods over pasta. His insights were fresh, untainted by greed. "This is real success," he said, "built to last." Outside, Mrs. Henderson waved, her flowers blooming despite the chill. Life normalized, but transformed. I'd redefined family as loyalty, not lineage. Julie and Brad's choices earned their downfall. Mine preserved integrity. As night fell, porch lights glowing, peace settled deep. Justice wasn't vengeance, it was balance restored. The courtroom air hung heavy with tension as Julie and Brad faced their preliminary hearing, but I chose not to attend, opting instead for Maria's detailed updates via phone. Julie's pleading guilty to the securities fraud. 5 years minimum, she reported, her voice carrying the satisfaction of a case well built. Brad's looking at 3 for conspiracy and loan fraud. Restitution set at nearly $700,000, which they'll never cover without selling everything. Outside my window, autumn winds scattered leaves across the lawn, mirroring the scattering of their lives. Rachel Morrison's cooperation had sealed much of it, her testimony painting Julie as the mastermind who twisted friendships into felonies. Fletcher's disbarment came swiftly, his practice shuttered. Walsh faced his own indictments for aiding the financial blueprint. The conspiracy's threads unraveled, exposing how greed had woven them together. At home, I reviewed victim statements, their gratitude letters a stack on my desk, elderly clients reclaiming stolen savings, lenders recovering funds through asset seizures. Justice moved methodically, like my property inspections, catching flaws before they festered. Tyler arrived for his first official day at Sullivan Properties, his college backpack swapped for a notebook filled with questions. "Ready to dive in?" I asked, handing him a clipboard as we headed to a nearby apartment complex. The drive through Beaverton's tree-lined streets felt symbolic, passing Julie and Brad's former home, now with a sold sign staked in the yard. "They moved last week," Tyler mentioned quietly. "Studio apartment, basic jobs, mom's stocking shelves, dad's lifting boxes." No glee in his tone, just acceptance of consequences earned. At the property, I showed him the ropes, checking plumbing, noting wear on carpets, chatting with tenants about their needs. "Honesty builds trust," I explained, recalling my first duplex renovation, hands calloused from sanding floors. Tyler absorbed it all. His suggestions practical, digital maintenance logs to streamline reports. "This is what I want," he said over lunch at a local diner. "Real work, real value." Pride bloomed. He'd escaped their shadow, embracing integrity. Back home, we pored over lease templates in my office, the afternoon sun slanting through blinds. "Grandma, Mom sent another note through me," he said, pulling out an envelope. Julie's words were brief. "Sorry for the pain. You warned us. Take care of our boy." A flicker of her old self, the daughter I'd raised before entitlement took root. But forgiveness wasn't mine to give yet. The drug's haze, the vandalism's scar, lingered. "She knows the cost," Tyler added. "Prison starts next month." We shifted to business, planning his role in expansions, perhaps acquiring a small commercial space downtown. His enthusiasm mirrored my early days, dreaming big but grounding in diligence. As evening fell, Mrs. Henderson called over the fence. "Saw you with the young man today? Family helping out?" "Yes," I replied, smiling. "The good kind." The following week brought closure on accomplices. Rachel's license revocation hit the news, her clinic distancing itself. Fletcher appealed his disbarment futilely. Victims' restitution funds grew from auctioned assets. Julie's designer wardrobe, Brad's BMW, all liquidated. One client, a widow like me, wrote, "Your courage saved my home. Thank you." Such notes fortified me against lingering doubts. Had exposure gone too far? No, truth protected the vulnerable. Tyler shadowed more inspections, his confidence growing. "Learned about zoning today. Fascinating," he texted. Community support continued. Harold Martinez invited us to a real estate luncheon, introducing Tyler as the next generation. Beaverton's tight-knit world embraced him, recognizing potential unmarred by scandal. At month's end, Julie and Brad's sentencing loomed, but I focused forward. Maria confirmed, the DA's wrapping up, no loose ends. Peace settled as I sat on my porch, tea in hand, watching twilight deepen. The vandalism's echo faded, replaced by Tyler's laughter during our strategy sessions. He'd sacrificed family harmony to protect me. Now, I'd ensure his future shone. Sullivan Properties would evolve under his honest stewardship, my empire enduring beyond betrayal. As the courtroom doors closed on Julie and Brad's final sentencing, I sat in my kitchen miles away. The morning paper spread before me with headlines confirming their convictions. 5 years for her on securities fraud, 3 for him on conspiracy and loan deception. Restitution orders loomed at $700,000, a sum that would strip them bare, their assets auctioned to repay the victims whose lives they'd upended. Maria called with the details, her voice professional yet laced with triumph. "It's done, Patricia." The judge cited premeditation, the drugging as assault. Accomplices are falling too. Rachel's license gone, Fletcher disbarred, Walsh indicted. Outside, The first snowflakes of winter dusted my lawn, a clean slate mirroring the closure I felt. No satisfaction in their ruin, but a profound relief that justice had prevailed, protecting others from their grasp. Victims' thank you notes piled on my desk, stories of recovered savings funding retirements or grandchildren's educations. My packets had sparked it all. Truth cascading like a river breaking dams. Tyler thrived in his new role at Sullivan Properties, arriving early for inspections with a thermos of coffee and a list of ideas. "Grandma, what about eco-friendly upgrades for the older units?" he suggested during a drive to a suburban complex, his enthusiasm infectious. We'd spent weeks together, him learning tenant negotiations, me sharing tales of my early struggles, midnight repairs, shrewd deals that built the portfolio to 312 units. "This is legacy," I told him at the duplex where it began, our breaths fogging in the crisp air. "Not just properties, but principles." He nodded, eyes earnest. "I get it now. Why you stood firm. Honesty isn't optional." His parents' shadow faded as he embraced the work, his college grades steady alongside part-time duties. Community events introduced him as my successor, Harold Martinez clapping him on the back. "Kids got your grit, Patricia." Beaverton's network welcomed him, offers of mentorship flowing in. One evening, as we reviewed expansion plans over tea, Tyler shared a call from Julie. "She's in prison now, says she's reflecting, regrets everything." Her voice had cracked, he said, asking about me indirectly. "Tell her I'm at peace," I replied, no bitterness left, only resolve. Brad's letters came too. Sparse apologies from his cell, but words couldn't erase the poison in my veins or the fear in Tyler's eyes that night. Yet, forgiveness crept in, not absolution, but release from anger's hold. Mrs. Henderson visited with homemade pie, gossiping about neighborhood changes. "Heard your family's troubles. Proud how you handled it." Her words affirmed what I'd learned. Family extended beyond blood to those who stood by with integrity. Tyler became that core, our bond forged in crisis, strengthened by shared values. Winter deepened, snow blanketing gardens, but warmth filled my home during strategy sessions with Tyler. "Let's target that vacant lot downtown," he proposed, spreadsheets glowing on his laptop. His vision aligned with mine. Sustainable growth, fair dealings. Colleagues called with opportunities, recognizing the shift. Sullivan Properties evolving under fresh eyes. One afternoon, driving back from a successful lease signing, Tyler turned serious. "Grandma, thanks for this chance. I could have followed their path, but you showed me better." Tears pricked my eyes. "You chose better, sweetheart. That's what counts." At 69, I'd thought my best days behind, but mentoring him reignited purpose, proving age brought wisdom, not obsolescence. As spring hinted with budding tulips, replacements for those trampled long ago, I reflected on the journey. Betrayal had tested me, but resilience prevailed. Julie and Brad's choices led to their cells, mine to a fortified empire and healed heart. Community support, Tyler's growth, my unyielding truth, these were victories. Sitting on the porch watching neighbors thrive, peace enveloped me. Legacy wasn't wealth alone, but the integrity passed on, ensuring Sullivan Properties endured honestly. Tyler waved from his car, heading to class with files in hand. "See you tomorrow, Grandma." "Can't wait," I called, heart full. Justice served, family redefined, future bright. In the quiet months that followed, as seasons turned gently and the sharp edges of memory softened like worn stones in a stream, I found myself wandering the paths of my garden more often, fingers trailing over blooming flowers that whispered of renewal. Tyler's laughter echoed through the house during our evening discussions, his ideas blooming alongside the tulips I'd replanted, each petal a testament to resilience against the storms we'd weathered together. The headlines faded from the papers, replaced by everyday joys. Tenants' grateful notes, colleagues' warm invitations, Mrs. Henderson's shared cups of tea under the porch light where stars seemed closer, kinder. Julie's letters arrived sporadically, her words carrying a humbled tone, seeking not forgiveness, but understanding. And in time I penned replies that spoke of growth, of the hard lessons that reshape us all. Brad's silence broke occasionally with brief updates from his confined world, but the distance allowed healing, a space where wounds closed without reopening. Tyler bridged it all. His integrity a bridge built on choices made in the darkest hour, now carrying him toward a future where honesty lighted every step. Sullivan Properties flourished under our combined care. expansions unfolding like careful blooms, each deal sealed with the same principles that had guided me from that first duplex onward. As evenings lengthened and sunsets painted the sky in soft hues, I sat with a cup of chamomile, the steam rising like gentle sighs, reflecting on how betrayal had unraveled one thread only to weave a stronger tapestry of trust and legacy. Family, I realized, was not defined by shared blood alone, but by the quiet commitments to truth and kindness that bound hearts across any divide. And in that realization, peace settled deep, a whisper of contentment that echoed through my days, promising that the best chapters indeed unfold when we least expect, carried on the soft wings of time and grace.